What is up, guys? Cajun here, and before we start, I just want to let you guys know to go join my Discord, go follow me on Twitter, and all that cool stuff to find out when I'm uploading, especially, and when I'm going to be streaming. So anyway, stop, Cajun, stop. Calm yourself. I didn't realize this was going to be a 14 or a 20-minute video. Don't worry about it. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, or you don't think you're going to watch the whole thing, I'm going to be streaming at 8 p.m. Central Time on January, what the hell is today's date? 8th? Yeah, January 8th. I'm going to be streaming twitch.tv/Cajun_X. It's in the description down below. Should be. And I'll probably talk about it there. If you want to talk about it with me, have a live discussion about it, I think it'd be cool. But yeah, if you watch the whole video, cool, thanks, appreciate it. And yeah, I'll stop talking now so it doesn't go over 20 minutes. Let's just get into it. We have another Let's Talk video. I know I did one last week. For those new here, these aren't that often, but I usually commentate about stuff going on within the mobile community or the COPS community. And, well, there's just been a lot of stuff with mobile stuff. The Ninja thing last week, and this week with COPS, Joker made a video that he's leaving. And I want to comment on that because a lot of people are using that video as, oh, COPS is dead, Joker's leaving, all these pros are leaving. But it's not because the game is dead, and it's not because the game, and Joker mentioned that in his video. He said he still has fun with the game is still fun. Yeah, there's issues, like servers and stuff, but that's not the problem. And I'm here to share my opinion on what the problem is. Alright, so like Joker said in his video, he started out, or I don't know if he started out with the Modern Combat games. Modern Combat 3, 4, and eventually Modern Combat 5, which was the latest game at the time, and that eventually became pay-to-win. Modern Combat 5 was very, very heavily pay-to-win after a while, and just no one really liked that, so what the players did, they kind of slowly went away from the game and came to Critical Ops. Modern Combat 5 had a big esports scene, and from what I know, because I really didn't follow the MC5 esports scene, they had a big esports scene. I've said that about 5 times already. Come on, Peyton. And that scene kind of came to Critical Ops and just blew up the game. There were big tournaments. The 3 main ones was, of course, Valiant, Mobile Esports, and eventually ESL later on down the road, a little bit after. But these tournament organizers were pretty big. I think Mobile Esports had experience in the Modern Combat 5 scene, but really started with Critical Ops. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, like the sudden player base and the big esports scene really propelled Critical Ops, and so that's what people started expecting. But eventually, as we know, the hackers came, and with these hackers, CFE was like, okay, we need to get this down pat, and they started focusing on that rather than the game. You could say that they were focusing on the game by trying to stop the hackers, but you get what I mean. They wanted to fix the hacking situation rather than expand on competitive. They started developing the anti-cheat. And as they started doing that, competitive kind of died down for whatever reason. I really don't know why. Mobile esports started doing just Blaze Games tournaments, which is Bullet Force and Forward Assault. They started doing that and kind of partnered with them, so I don't think they can do Critical Ops tournaments anymore, really. Um, and ESL just has been. Uh, I don't even know, dude. They've been mismanaged, really, and that's not a. I don't want to shit on Arch and all that run ESL, but it just was never really run efficiently and good. There were always problems. There was always miscommunication, especially during Open League. Um, and yeah, it was it just wasn't it was never managed well, and that's all the way from the Mob Crush tournaments to Open League. The weekly tournaments were okay, but you could never get hold of admin fast enough, and I think if they had a bigger and better admin team, it'd be cool. It'd be better. I really don't know. Anyway, so ESL was the first to die down, and it's come back on and off. Mobile Esports was the second, and the only big tournament organizer you have left is Valiance. Now, no one's thought about, well, why are these tournaments not doing so well anymore? Why are there no more tournaments anymore? Joker said Valiance takes too long, but you also have to think Valiance does it right. They have good production value. They make sure everything is correct. No one's hacking, and stuff like that. So you can't really blame them for taking too long. Mobile Esports was also that sort of tournament where you could contact them easily. You could, if you were suspicious, they had the evidence and everything. And then ESL was just, oh, let's hurry, get it over with. If you lost, you lost. Oh well, we can't check anything. We got to move on. Even with screenshots, you would get a response like half an hour later. Maybe that was just for lesser known teams, like myself. But anyway, Valiance does it right, and Mobile Esports did it right before they partnered with Blaze Games, and it's gonna take a long time. We aren't to that point in competitive Critical Ops where we're like a CS:GO or a Dota or a League of Legends, where we have this much time to have events, and such and such. We have an event every month or so. Valiance just isn't big enough. No one is actually big enough, and no one's going to invest that amount of money into Critical Ops because, one, it's a mobile game and no one respects mobile games, and two, it's just not big enough yet. It's not big enough, and it's not self-sufficient enough to do that. That's why orgs never came, and people didn't realize that. Because the big orgs like Cloud9, FaZe, not even FaZe, but like the Cloud9s, the Fanatics, the Tempo Storms, all those people that have multiple rosters for multiple games, they never came into the community because they didn't really see any investment of it, except Space Station, and then that was quickly ruined by a dumbass, I forget who it was, Evolve, I think, who hacked, and that lasted all of 2 days. So, fuck Evolve. But apparently he didn't hack or whatever. Or no, that was someone else. I fucking can't remember anymore. That whole like 6 months is just a blur. But anyway, so yeah, like the hacking drama was the start of the fall. Because you didn't know who was hacking and who wasn't. You didn't know who was, legitimately playing, and that really kind of delegitimized the competitive scene in a way, because you could be playing against a hacker and not even know it. Once that got finished, the competitive scene was pretty much dead. You had the LAN tournament, which, in my opinion, was a good success. I could see why Amazon didn't allow people to go to the event, because they would have had to pay for a venue and stuff. And again, no one wants to spend money on a mobile game. It's already good enough that they spent money on the cameras, the streaming equipment, and all that. I don't think devices, because I think they brought their own devices. But yeah, a whole room, stage, graphics, all that stuff. They spent money on for the LAN. It's not like that was just whipped up for free. They had to pay people. They had to pay the commentators. I'm sure. I would hope that Caesar and Maniac and the other guy got paid. But yeah, it's just, once the hacking situation started, it was kind of over, at least for now. It's kind of in the dark ages of competitive. And then, of course, the servers started breaking for whatever reason, whether it can't handle the bandwidth of all of fuck English. Hello. Whether it can't handle the bandwidth of players playing the game or whatever, that's completely, it's completely on CFE, and at the same time it's not on CFE. Because if CFE is paying for something that should handle the amount of players, then it's not CFE's fault. It's the server host's fault. And if CFE just has too many players, but they can't afford the like bigger and better servers, then that's kind of CFE's fault. But at the same time, if they can't afford it, it's kind of not their fault. But anyway, so yeah, CFE started focusing on hackers, and then with the server stuff, they started focusing on that, and as far as I know, that's still what they're kind of focusing on. They've never really come back to that esports heavy focus that was at the beginning of Critical Ops, and that's been there for the past 3 years now, 2.5 years. I'll even say 2 years, because this past year is just, they haven't focused on esports as much. They've really handed that off to Valiance, and they said, here you go, you can boost the esports scene by yourself, probably. And yeah, that kind of sucks, but you got to think CFE has to. There's still a lot of problems in the game that haven't been fixed, and they're making new maps. They're reworking Plaza, because no one likes Plaza anymore. And they're slowly coming back to that esports focus, but I think it's kind of too late. We basically have to regrow the scene. And with games like Brawl Stars coming out, people are moving there. PUBG Mobile is a great game for esports. They have a very, very high, heavy interest and focus on esports. But then again, Tencent has the money. And that's another thing. Critical Ops doesn't have the money to have a big, giant esports scene like a Tencent, like a Riot Games, like an ESL. They don't have the money to host their own tournaments like Tencent did with PUBG Mobile a couple months ago, where they had regionals and then they had a big world championship in Dubai. They just don't have the money for that. Valiance doesn't have that money either. And even, I think, in my opinion, Valiance is on its way out of the Critical Ops scene. As much as I'd hate to say it, I think they are, because you got to think they started out with Critical Ops, I'm pretty sure. They started out as a tournament organizer, and now they have a pretty big brand in the mobile gaming community. They started doing Clash Royale tournaments in the CES region, or the CIS region. Sorry. They have shows on their channel now. Hey, where's the show with Monroe and Sapphire Sky? I want that back. They have a CS team now, and it just seems like they're venturing away from esports, or from Critical Ops at least. Maybe that's just me. Hopefully the winter season, the spring season will be announced soon enough. Because it was the Winter Invitational, right? Hold on. So yeah, like their last couple of streams since the Autumn Invitational finished have been Fortnite and Fortnite and Clash Royale mostly. And the Autumn Invitational was it really only a month ago? Damn. Okay. It was only a month, but still, like, it. Hopefully, the winter season will be soon. But the last thing they did was 3 weeks ago on Valiance, which is kind of weird, but don't at me or whatever. It's just, I think the esports scene for Critical Ops started too big. And because it started too big, people have high expectations for it, or had high expectations for it. And those expectations never really came to fruition because no one has the money, or no one wants to invest the money to see Critical Ops do well. Because this esports stuff takes a lot of money. And quite frankly, no one's going to want to invest money when you have hackers. When you have crappy servers, and when you don't focus on the esports scene, which, again, in my opinion, I think they're doing it right. But at the same time, the scene started too fast and they focused on esports first. I think if they would have focused on the game first, that we could be seeing a whole different story, but they're kind of working flip-flopped. They focused on esports first mainly because their player base was esports heavy because of Modern Combat 5. Most of the esports people came and they were like, well, we have to do this for these guys because they want a game, they want a new home. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think the esports scene started too fast, and it's really just it's never going to get back to the way it was, at least in the foreseeable future. Because it started too fast and there were too high expectations for it, and CFE just doesn't see that. I don't know. And anyway, guys, this is an 18-minute video, so I'm so terribly sorry. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.